Alright, well, welcome back to the podcast, people. Today we are joined by the lovely Sam Coleman. Thanks for coming down on this wintry day, mate.
Absolutely welcome.
To kick things off, I've got a little quick fire game. Do you know what a quick fire game is?
I do.
I'm not
that young.
Okay,
yeah.
alright. So I've got a few questions in here. Some about shoes, some about your personal life. Okay, right. Favourite shoe of all time?
Air Max 1 Pata Chlorophyll.
Nice. Favourite release memory?
Can I do in-store and online? I got online blue tint the first time blue tints dropped when it was Adidas confirmed, the capture.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got on capture 3.5, and at that time, do you remember 3.5 was going for like 60 above everything.
Yep.
Got that, then went home, sold it outside the shop, used that money to get another 3 pairs online, and I was just like, at that point, it must have been 2017, making like 300 quid in a day. I would have been like 16 years old. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Crazy.
And then, do you remember Offspring did Eventbrite for like 4 drops?
Yeah.
I got the Travis Scott Air Forces.
They did the Travis Scotts, and I think there were some of the Off-Whites on that as well.
The November, some of them might have been like when they had excess stock, I think.
That was
I didn't
funny.
have ID, and they walked me through because of my age. And I remember so many resellers coming up to me, trying to buy them off me at as I'm walking out. You know where?
It's the where you
Offspring,
go into the car park, right?
Yeah, that's where you queue. But I was walking out as if you walk into like the men's fashion area. There's like 10 resellers waiting.
Store.
Yeah.
How old were you then?
Must have been 15.
Under 18.
So it's pretty intimidating when they all come up to you.
And also, I was short until I'm still not tall now. But when I was that age, I was like 5'2". So I was small, round, and like I probably could have got jumped easily. I remember I just got on the train home, and then that was it.
Do you remember that?
What?
It was
Eventbrite
before
release.
Yeah, so before Offspring did. But the thing about that, they never put the link in their bio or anything, as far as I can remember. Well, I know when I got it, I was just monitoring Eventbrite.
Yeah, I just kept refreshing it for like 3 hours. I remember I was in the bar, and I saw the link. I had like a WhatsApp group with a few friends. Got the link, and I reserved the Just On pair. Obviously, they didn't resell. And then the whole evening, I was just refreshing it. And then randomly, the Travis Scotts came back in, and I was like, what? I actually got them. I remember I went to a party the night before, didn't bring a change of clothes with me, slept out. I saw my. Do you remember those Adidas joggers that everyone used to wear? Just the black and white ones
with the stripes,
Ultra stripes. Yeah. Pulled up, and I had like all mud down my leg. And then some guy was in front of me in the queue. It was my first ever I think it was my first ever raffle collection, like proper strict raffle collection. And he was like, "Have you got ID?" I was like, "No." And I phoned my dad. I was like, "Please send me a photo of my passport ASAP, otherwise they're not going to let me get the shoes."
Yeah.
And I was just stressing.
That's good that they let you. They can be quite strict sometimes.
I think it was maybe because of my age as well. Yeah.
Okay. Favorite reselling story? It's probably that, to be fair.
That I feel like I don't think there's, in terms of like one that I can remember, or Yeezy Butter release day. I remember that was like just after I finished GCSEs, summer 2018-19 it must have been, and they were releasing in every Foot Locker, first come first serve.
They were pretty limited, right? Like generally.
Also horrific.
Yeah, they were clapped, but like people didn't want to pay.
They were super limited
for like the creams.
I'm pretty sure they were really limited on Adidas from what I can remember.
See, I didn't know.
Which is why they did quite well, right?
And they dropped at like 6 a.m. on the Adidas site.
Yeah.
So we woke up for Adidas, then went in store. I remember one of my friends couldn't afford retail, and I could, so I said to him, "I'll buy them." We split the profit, and at that point, do you remember like the bulk buyers that used to wait and buy like 100 pairs? And we just sold them all to him. We all made like 100 quid in a day.
It's crazy.
And then I remember went to PF Chang's for dinner, and at that point, that was like a crazy restaurant. And like I miss those days because it was so simple.
Yeah, you used to just spunk your money as well, though, because you just saw it as like free money when you first start reselling.
I think until I bought a car, I didn't have any savings or anything. I just spent as I made.
All right, best flip.
PS5, the November drop. I got. I'll tell you off. I might have told you. I don't want to say it on camera.
Okay.
But PS5,
TikTok comments will come after you for this one.
Yeah, PS5, and then shoes, Yeezy slides. When you could get Yeezy slides, not on the first ever drop because everyone was cancelling their orders in lockdown. but the drop after that, end drop them first come first serve. And I got
which one?
Which colorway?
It was like core.
The 3 together.
Resin. The first time Resin came out, and I remember that's like the most memorable ones where I got big quantity.
Yeah,
or something like that.
Then your worst flip, something you lost loads of money on, or you bought too much of.
Maybe the 1,000 millitees you were just telling us about.
Yeah, well, no, because they'll come summer they'll sell.
Yeah,
so.
I'm joking. Also, is it Myler or
Myler? Well,
yeah.
Miller is Miller.
Myler just sounds weird, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And also, I didn't know this, but someone told me this. It's a running top.
Yeah.
Would you run? You run miles.
Oh yeah, classic.
Yeah. Nice little.
So that's what I got told.
Okay.
I'd say the worst. It might have been Ultra Minis actually last winter, because there was a period where I was getting so many. I got banned from Shoe for it. Because I was
in store. Yeah.
so I was getting so many, and then I had like a couple left over, and they weren't selling. I think I don't really lose money too often. I would rather it's sort of a bad trait. I'd rather wait out and make a profit or break even than ever lose money.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got the capital to do so.
Yeah, but
until you end up with human races from 5 years ago left.
So what? So worst flip, like it can be one single shoe. What?
Oh, air fryers. I've still got 2 air fryers. I
saw those in the background of one of your
they're
videos.
Sitting in my other stock room.
Mate, use it, surely.
Have you
got one? Oh, you got one.
I've got hot tubs. You know, the lazy spars. I've still got 4
You know what?
of those.
I'll buy that off you because I'm looking for an air fryer.
You can have one,
all right?
yeah.
No, I'm not paying resale for it.
No, you can have it for below retail.
Okay, sick.
I don't care.
All right. Wicked.
Because they at the time, but that's how I
crazy,
justify it, is that I probably made like a couple K off them. And I remember, I don't bot. I'm too thick to bot.
Yeah.
So I just did everything manually. I order my 2 off curries every morning, flip them the same day, and then I got stuck with that final 2.
Yeah.
And this is my bad habit, is I refuse to lose money on them.
That's not bad.
I'll lose money to you though.
Okay, all right. So, yeah. I always wanted to try an air fryer, but yeah, it's funny you say that because I saw that in the back of a video.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Worst personal pickup that you regret?
I actually have none. In fact, there's one of the shoes I brought with me. Okay. I'll explain why I regret it, but I don't regret it. I don't have a single pair that I actually regret buying. There's nothing I regret buying.
Okay. Right, a few more not about sneakers. Employed or self-employed?
Like, what would you rather?
Technically, I'm self-employed, but on paper, I am employed. But I'd say self-employed because you don't have to sort of be bossed about.
Cool. TikTok or Instagram?
Instagram.
Yeah, good answer. Takeaway or eat-in?
Go to like a nice restaurant.
Nice 100%. Restaurant. I'm takeout all day, man. Fucking hate people. Okay, right, here we go. Movies or documentaries?
Now documentaries.
Okay.
I really, really started enjoying them.
Favorite brand?
It's a bit basic, but I'd probably just say Nike. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, nice, man. Coffee or tea?
Oh, I'll go with tea.
Okay. Best advice you've ever been given?
I couldn't even tell you. Save money for your taxes.
Nice.
I learned the hard way.
Sensible, man. Okay, cool. Best reselling tip that you can give the listeners?
Be patient, because it doesn't happen overnight, and also invest time. If you've got 3 spare hours in a day, invest 2 of them into reselling. Learn what you're doing, because if you don't know what you're doing, if you're going out there, and I see it now as people go to the outlet, just as an example, they'll buy something just because they see that it's sold once on StockX. Understand what you're buying and also learn your trade, because there's a reason that there's certain stuff that I don't flip. It's because I don't understand it. It's not worth putting my money into. So I'd say, to shorten it, time, patience, and educate yourself.
Nice, man. Worst fake shoe that you've either seen or bought?
Seen is probably like people wearing fake Pandas, and it's the fact that they probably don't know they're wearing fakes. And then I had one time, someone sent me a Midnight Navy 4, and on the box label, rather than it spelled Jordan, it was spelled Jordana.
That's like when we.
A in the end was switch.
When Luke jigs parcels to my house.
What, put random
Zeddy. Okay, cool. And have you ever bought a shoe that you assumed were real and they weren't?
Yeah, like especially the industry within reselling I work in. At the start, it was a big learning curve, buying off certain marketplaces. But yeah, I've been sent fakes. I've bought fakes. I think every time though I've managed to retrieve my money, I believe it's a lot harder now than it was in terms of, because PayPal don't back you anymore.
Well, it's harder to prove it, right?
Yeah, and also PayPal don't back resellers, I believe, now. So I remember the worst one that happened to me is I bought Sean's, and this is maybe 6 months after release. Do you remember people used to use fake sneakers receipts?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they've stopped using receipts now, sneakers. I think it's because of that reason.
Yeah.
And
they were pretty easy to fake as well.
People do fake receipts. I see
Foot Locker all the time.
Yeah, I see TikToks now of like people selling courses on how to sell fake stuff.
Yeah,
and how to fake receipts.
Yeah,
so iPhones, big. AirPods, and they'll teach you how to fake receipts and shit.
And it's because they're doing fraud with it. So everything's. That's what this whole new eBay thing with the HMRC.
Yeah.
The main reason is because of fraud and money laundering.
Okay, cool. Favorite platform to sell on?
S&C Kicks.
Nice. There we go, man. The plug. Favorite memory of last year?
I got two, and they're both not sneaker related. One's I went to Barcelona in sort of this time last year, and I went with a few mates. And I woke up before them. I was like, what do I do? So I just walked to the beach. I was walking along the beach, and I was like, I'm literally making money just walking along a beach right now. And I was like, I haven't made it, but like that was the feeling of making it.
Yeah, man. It's interesting, mate. Like in life in general, like it's so funny how like in moments like that, your brain says you're doing all right. Like acknowledge these moments where like you're not stressed, you're not worried.
It's always the little things.
It's always the little things, man.
Yeah,
always.
It's never for me. It's like never until probably like as soon as I moved out, it's like realizing the cost of everything.
Yeah.
I think before then it was all materialistic stuff, but now I've realized that as much as people say money doesn't make happiness, I actually think it does, in terms of it can create like incredible memories.
Yeah.
And I think
that statement I've never understood.
I think like my opinion on that is that money, like it enables freedom, time, and options, and all of those things should equate to happiness. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if you have money, you can do what you love, and therefore, really, you should be happy. But there's, it's obviously far deeper than that.
So it depends on sort of your mental health, I believe.
Yeah,
as well.
exactly. I was going to say, someone that struggles to be happy without money is not going to be much happier with money, vice versa.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, well said. Okay, this is an interesting one. Rich and stressed, or happy and comfortable?
Happy and comfortable, a million times, yeah.
All day, man, all day. Favorite artist?
Music.
Oh,
that's too hard. Do you know what? It's between two right now. It's either Ye, like for me, it's Ye or Skepta.
Nice.
And Olivia Rodrigo.
She's sick.
Yeah, unreal.
She
not just the music.
She almost got busted a #2 album. So busted
Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Last question. This is very you. Favorite outlet, or do you not want to burn the loop?
Outlet.
Favorite outlet in the whole of the UK?
I don't have a favourite. I'll tell you why. Because every single one brings different benefits. Some you might get certain stock from. Some you might get other stock from. I don't have a favourite one. And there's not one that, like, to me, if I were to say any, it's Wembley, because I remember going there. We're talking 2015. I distinctly remember the Ricardo Tisci.
Yeah.
His Air Forces being in that outlet.
The mid.
Yeah.
Were they the ones that are like tan?
Yeah, tan.
And there was a black one. And I distinctly remember that, and knowing that they resold, and knowing that I couldn't even afford to buy like a t-shirt there, but walking in and seeing them. And then I remember seeing De La Soul's in the Hatfield Galleria outlet. Wow. But that closed years ago. And I remember,
you buy them?
I was too young to even afford it, or know that. I just knew they were dunks. It must have been when I first started getting into it.
Yeah.
But like Wembley for me, because I'd seen it before, and I distinctly remember reselling out of lockdown, buying Nike Blazer mids, the vintage red, and then there were royal blue ones, making like £10 a pair. And out of lockdown, I was like, yeah, bless. Like, so like for me, Wembley, because like I'd say that's where it really started.
So I remember, I think I DM'd you like 2017 maybe, or 2000. It must be 2017 or 2018. But I remember you were kind of do you remember when like story drops were like really, really popular? I remember you being like the kind of with the top tier within that world of like Instagram sellers doing story sales, and you were like mainly doing used, I think, back then, right?
I think I strictly did used and then new releases.
Yeah.
I didn't do any of the bricks.
So how did you get into that? Like, when did you start getting into sneakers, and then when did you first start getting into like reselling and using Instagram and story drops? Because I think you were like the first person to really do that, right? You were definitely the biggest at the time.
There wasn't many people around.
Yeah, there was, but it worked. It was a really smart thing.
There was a small group of people that did it, and it came from America. All the Americans did it first. It's the same thing, how sort of the whole like sneaker community goes. Whatever happens in America, it then trickles into the UK. So I believe it was very common in America. And there were a few resellers that did it. Before I was even on Instagram, I think it must have been 2019, because that's sort of end of 2018, start of 2019 is when I started on Instagram.
Right, okay.
Because I was selling just on like the Soul Supply group. I don't know if it was called
Facebook
Sneaker
groups.
Myth or if it was called
Yeah,
Sneakerhead
Sneaker
UK though. At the time.
There was Sneaker Myth, I think.
Before that, it was called Sneakerhead UK, but I don't know what sort of time it changed.
But yeah, Facebook groups in general.
That's how I started as well. So what I would do is I would buy off Depop. I don't even think I was cleaning them up at this point. I think I would literally make them look nice, put them on Facebook. Within like a couple of days or the same day they'll sell. And at that point, I would have been 16, 17. I realised I want to have this crazy shoe collection, and that was from watching YouTube. Trying to think who was like Kai Somar, Blazendary,
yeah, the classic,
all of them. That's what I grew up watching. Like these kids would watch, I don't know, FIFA. All I watched was shoes, because all I wanted to do was that, and I didn't know how to.
So that's how you got into shoes, was like through YouTube essentially.
Supreme was
Supreme.
I remember the earliest memory I have is like the 2015, was it the BOGO crew necks that released?
Yeah.
And there was the
We
camo
spoke
one.
about it the other day.
And I remember you had like the £1 day at school where people would pay. And I must have been year 8 or year 9. All these year 11s are coming in wearing like Yeezy 350s.
In your school?
Wait, what's a £1 day?
You pay £1 to charity and like
And you wear your own
day.
clothes, mufti, yeah, okay.
And
I've never heard of that.
No, not as that either.
I remember people wearing like Independence Days, and I knew what all the shoes were.
The Air Max 90s,
Yeah,
they were
that's
so,
I knew,
and they
yeah.
were all fake. Like
Everyone
all,
had fakes, yeah.
Yeah.
And the had the US logo on the tab,
yeah.
and it used to rub off. So I remember, like, distinctly remember, like, my mate's older brothers wearing all this stuff, and I was probably wearing like a Top Man splatter T-shirt with the rolled up.
Do you remember the Y necks
Mm-hmm.
with the buttons?
Yeah.
The Y. Oh, pop a picture up.
Oh yeah.
The Top Man ones.
Yeah. No, I do. And they had like all different colours. Yeah. And I remember people wearing all this shit, and I'm like, oh, it's so cool. And then my friend, he bought like a Supreme knife or something for like 20 quid. And I was like, yeah, that's sick. And I was like, I didn't even know how to get Supreme. I didn't know there was a shop. I didn't know there was a website. I remember buying just a red box logo sticker because I wanted one for £5 on eBay.
Mate. Luke was selling those back in the day.
I used to get the whole
The
slab,
bricks,
the
yeah.
whole bricks, yeah.
And I think it was just a common interest. It was cool.
Yeah.
I think it didn't necessarily make you popular, but it was.
You feel like you're part of something.
You feel like because that's what your friends are like into, or peers. Yeah, that's cool. So I'd say that. Excuse me.
It is also just like a very attractive thing for people who like don't know about it to get into. Do you know what I mean? Like things sell out. That naturally that makes you want it more.
Yeah.
And then when you see the type of people wearing it, you're like, oh, they're cool. And
well,
then
you see it, right? You see someone wearing it, so then you Google Supreme and you go on. Even before the EU website existed, it was even harder because you'd Google it and be like, what? Like it doesn't exist. There's no website. There's no shop in London. Then obviously the London shop came, the web store came. But even then, if someone Googles it, it's all sold out. And then they're like, what's going on? Like, what is this? And then you start to look into it. That's what attracts you to the brand because it's sold out.
So what was the first shoe you sold and made a profit on? Because like because it was the same with me. Like I think a lot of people get into shoes because they want to start collecting and have the shoes that they necessarily can't afford, or like you want to just get that physical item in your hand. So like, that's how it started for you?
That's where the interest came.
Yeah. And then what was the first shoe that you sold and made a profit on? Do you remember?
It was an Ultra Boost 1.0, a Core Black 1.0. before Kanye, I think it might have either been just before or just as Kanye wore them in a show. There's that photo of him jumping, and it was in a white 1.0. And I remember I got the core black 1.0. They were in Office on discount, and it was like a Christmas present or a birthday present. And I wore them, and then I'm looking online. I'm like, well, I can sell these and get back what they originally cost. And I think I sold them for £70. Started buying used Ultra Boost 1.0s and Energy Boost. I don't know. You might remember.
Are they the black and purple ones?
Those were one of the Ultra Boosts. The Energy Boost was like the
NRG.
No, as in like energy, as in like.
No, I don't remember.
I'll try and show you.
I'll know them. But the thing that was interesting about the Ultra Boost was wasn't the retail like 230?
It was 130 originally.
130. They kept going up and up and up.
So the 1.0s, it's actually a regret of mine. I remember it must have been 2018. I want to say I was in Selfridges, and it must have been like one of those like off days from school where you don't go into school for like inset day.
Yeah, inset.
I went up to town.
What are all these fucking school days you
Did you not have that? Inset and mufti. Mufti's like
inset was like one day before you start school again from like Christmas
or something. Training day.
Yeah.
We had that.
Yeah. And I went up to town. Back then, Zip Oyster, I could get to and from town on the train for £1.50 and get the bus for free. So I went up to town. I think I had £150 from Christmas. There was in Selfridges, I either had the option of getting CDG Converse, not even like the ones with the hearts on, like the cheaper alternative, and being able to go to Supreme or Palace and getting a t-shirt when they were 30 quid.
Yeah.
Or getting a 1.0 reflective Ultra Boost. I chose the CDGs. Then I went to Palace and I bought a Palace t-shirt. I guarantee I'll have a photo of me wearing it outside like DSM with my phone.
So I remember the Ultra Boost, mate. I remember like the Fear of God, like craze where everyone was just wearing like Fear of God and Ultra Boost.
Kanye.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah,
do you remember the H&M twill joggers and everyone used to put their own string in?
Yeah.
I remember doing that, and I remember people reselling them with the string in and doing it as like a custom for like triple retail.
It was honestly just everyone wanting to dress how Kanye was dressing.
I've got a funny story about Ultra Boost. So in my first band, right, we got like a few like endorsements. They weren't really endorsements, but they were like, you know, Dr. Martens would let you go in the shop and you just take whatever. And then like Reebok would do the same. And then when the Ultra Boost craze was really big, I was like, right, how can I get a load of these pairs? I messaged like someone who worked at Adidas, and I was like, look, this is us, we're a band, we're going on tour. It was all bullshit. It was just straight up blagging it. Yeah. Anyway, managed to set up a meeting, went all the way into central London, was waiting there. I think the meeting was at like 10 o'clock. Got to about 5:02, and I was like, okay, I might give the doorbell a knock. Knocked on the door, rang the doorbell, no answer. They got to about 10 past, quarter past, and I got an email being like, Eddie, can we move the meeting? And I was like, mate, I've come all the way into central London. Went back home, went back in again, and I'm thinking, this is it. I get to go in and take all the Ultra Boost that I can, because I was just going to either resell it or trade for like actual shoes I did want to wear. Went back in for another meeting, and the same thing happened. I just got completely buoyed off by Adidas, and it was like, I remember at the time as well, I had messaged like a few friends, and they were wanting to buy pairs off me. So it was like that. I was so close to making like...
And you'd bigged it up to all your mates.
I bigged it up and I was like, don't worry.
Do you reckon they knew you were blagging them as well?
I think they just probably thought, who the fuck is this guy? And we don't care about your band.
Checks over stripes, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But it was cool though. Nike used to sort us out loads back in the day, mate. But anyway.
I remember doing drops at Nike Town. I remember Royal Ones.
Yeah.
And Pure Monies.
Yeah.
Horrific times.
So they were like the first shoes. And then what made you think, all right, I'm going to start an Instagram page and actually
Someone
like pursue
told
this?
me through Facebook. I was flipping 1, 2, 3 pairs a week in there, building this reputation where people would actually come and sell to me. Someone said, just build an account. Like, what's the worst that can happen? And the funniest thing is, like, he's still mates with me now. And it's someone that I never knew. I only knew him for a phone. He resold, and now he does my website for me and still resells.
Was he one of the boys that came to the pop-up?
No.
Because
he was actually there on the second day.
Oh, cool.
For a short while, but yeah.
Yeah. For listeners who
Really
don't
nice
know,
guy.
we did a pop-up and Sam came down as like a guest seller. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was interesting to see what it's like to have a store in London. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that I learned from that is that people are not numb, but they are very used to seeing every shoe that is ever released. They're not excited by it
because there's so many sneaker stores.
Yeah, there's
now.
That's one of the things that used to excite me.
Yeah,
was going into central London, and I remember the Correct Protect resale shop presented by. It was like the first resale shop, except I think there might have been like the OG ones, but they weren't in central.
No, Present by was the first
in like that sort of central London. And I remember going there and just looking at all these shoes, and they had like mags in the display case.
Mate, that's where you probably bought a sticker off me. I used to consign stickers with Present.
How much was payout?
Mate, I sold some stickers for like 25 quid.
Fuck, did you actually get payout?
They were, you know, like the Mendini box logo stick, like the rare box logo.
I still have a box full of like.
I've got so many stickers.
So many from.
What do you do with stickers these days?
Yeah, I know. Put them on your laptop, maybe.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
I gave one. My half brother. My brother is year 6. It must be 10 or 11, and he's just started getting into like, I wouldn't say streetwear, but he's aware of shoes. So he'll come into my office and he'll be like, "What you got in a UK 5?" And he'll just like gander through and he'll find the shoes. Like, "Oh, can I have it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you paying $250 for it?" And he's like, "No."
The age of like people interested in sneakers and clothing now is so young, and I think, hopefully you guys agree, it's just purely down to YouTube, like YouTubers and influencers.
I think that's the biggest
Because
influence
I
in
would have
social
had
media.
that's what got us all into it in the first place, right? Like for me, it was Tyler the Creator, seeing him wear Supreme, and a lot of people it was Kanye and stuff. So I guess now it's just like Speed and other YouTubers. They see them and they're like. Because I was baffled when my nephews came here and they like know what some of the shoes are, and they were so young. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it is crazy, man. That whole like sort of YouTube scene and whatnot. And I guess that whole younger demographic, not to be like patronizing, but it plays into like why certain shoes, like if they get into reselling and they're not really doing it for the money, that's why certain things, quote unquote, brick. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's interesting, man. So that was your intro into like reselling and making money and whatnot. So fast forward until now, what does your like life look like? What is you full-time sneakers, full-time reselling?
So whenever anyone asks me this, it's always just very busy because as stupid as it sounds, I wake up because you guys probably get it as well, but because you're running a business sort of remotely as well, and you're primarily running it all yourself, constantly getting messages, constantly getting phone calls, whether it's regarding selling, buying, can you source this? That's why I've stopped like sourcing, quote unquote. I do it for the clients that will want to pay the money, but 9 times out of 10, someone will come, can you source this? Tell them price. Oh, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
If you really want it, you just pay now.
Yeah.
What's your details?
Yeah.
So
it's
I've just stopped doing
that
it.
happens.
That's why I've stopped doing it. I have a small clientele that will do it, but like I wake up, I've now started doing the YouTube content.
Yeah, I've seen that. That's cool.
It's great. It's growing nicely. Like I'm really impressed with how it's growing so far, but it takes time. Like
I was going to say, what do you think is the hardest thing about doing YouTube in general or making sneaker content? Because for me, mate, it's like I love making content. I've made content with drums, with like we've been doing this for years now. I actually personally struggle with like putting sneaker content out there because of I don't know whether it's a new thing or because more people are aware of reselling.
I feel
and
like
the
you're
fact
going to
shoes.
either say one of two things. Either you're going to shoot yourself in the foot or some sort of hate about it.
Yeah, hate.
Yeah.
It's weird, man. And we went to a guy called Jimmy, who's like a big SB collector and now seller. I think he's already like always sold. But he's like an older guy. And I said to him the same thing. I was like, you fall into this area of reselling that is like kind of
not hated on.
You're not hated, and it's celebrated. You're helping people get their collections, and you're like, you know, just doing something that's really cool. Like just the same as selling vintage guitars or wine or watches or cars or whatever it may be. Yet there's like another area of people who resell sneakers that get a lot of hate, especially on apps like TikTok. But that's the one thing that do you struggle with that or not? Or do you not?
Do you know what? The one thing that I've learned, and I'm glad I learned it early, is not like, why do you need to care? Because I can justify what I'm doing. Someone says, like, it's on one of my JD, it's like
I saw it. You were in fucking news.
The Sun put it up, and then we spoke about it the other day.
Yeah.
And you think that they tried to put it as against me, right?
Yeah, I believe that the intention of them posting that was to be like, well, look at this guy. Everyone's struggling, and he's spent £2,000 in JD.
But do you know what I think it is? And then people will comment on it, and it's not people I know. It's some
complete strangers.
John Bloggs who lives wherever, fuck knows, but they care so much about what you're doing, and they're like, oh, it's unethical. And then, this is the funniest one.
Immoral as well. It's like, oh my God.
Fuck off. I had some guy comment, he was like, I'm a reseller, but the way you're doing it, you're a scalper. And I was just like, and I always reply to comments because I know it's not going to affect me. And I'm not commenting.
It's also helping your video a lot.
Well, I was like, look at this. I'll show you this. It's funny. So this is on 3 videos. Bear in mind, I've only just started posting, and now I'm doing it like every day. But
on YouTube, every day.
3 different videos, 3 negative comments, and like that guy.
What, same guy?
Yeah.
Look,
it's interesting,
so weird,
mate.
isn't it?
I think like
3 different videos.
I mean,
people care too much.
That's YouTube, so it's a different kettle of fish. But TikTok's the
TikTok's
whole
worse.
algorithm. Well, they're showing videos to people who don't follow you, so they don't care. But what they do care about is that they're seeing someone make money from something that they, like Uggs, for example. I mean, it's like
I got it last year so bad.
I bet.
PlayStations was the worst I ever had. I got a nice amount, but the way I got them, it wasn't unethical. It was just a fair way to get them. Do you remember the Tesco thing?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're about. I think we spoke about this.
Yeah, we did. And you could get 2 under one name at one shop, and you didn't pay till collection. So I got them all that way.
Well, like, this is the thing. At the end of the day, it's like you waited on the website for ages, and then you bought them. Anyone could do the same thing. They just can't be asked.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing that gets me. I mean, there's a lot of things about like sneaker reselling that you can argue about, but like the thing is, if the person commenting hate or the irrational comments that we all get, it's people that have put 0 effort into getting the item. If they put a little bit of effort in and they educated themselves, they will be able to get them, but they don't, and then they moan when they can't get them. Also, the person who is saying like, oh, I really wanted this shoe and you took it away from me. It's like, you wouldn't want it if it was sat on the shelves. You just wouldn't. Like, that's the way Nike, that's the way their whole business model works.
And going back to Jimmy, we were talking about a similar topic, and we all agreed on the fact that the sneaker culture only exists with resellers.
Yeah, supply and demand.
It's never existed without them. They've always been there.
They've always been there. It's just become so generalized now.
I would say, I don't know a percentage, but like majority of people that are into shoes have resold at some point. So they can't be like, I'm not a reseller because I only sold 3 pairs. Everyone's a reseller at the end of the day.
Let's say you aren't a reseller, right? And you're one of those guys or girls that comments on these videos and calls people a scalper, right? Let's say you hit on a Jordan 1 Lost and Found for retail, right? And then in a year's time, you want to sell that shoe. Are you going to sell it for market value or for the retail price?
Yeah,
you're going to sell it for market value. Therefore, you're a reseller, or you have resold that item.
And also, like, if you're supposedly against reselling, and I came along and I said, look, I'll show you how you can buy 100 of those, they're not going to be like, not interested, mate.
Yeah. But it's funny though, man, like the way it's shifted, and it feels like it's shifted. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's always been like that.
No, it has a lot. I think I haven't even been so like indulged in it for that long. Like, however, even in the past, I'd say I've been like a full-time reseller, quote unquote, for maybe 2.5, 3 years properly. But before that, I started reselling to fund my collection.
We all did.
Everyone did that. It's so normal. You start reselling to do something, regardless of what it is. But people don't hate on people buying property and reselling it. Yeah, the amount of money in property, cars.
That's an interesting one as well.
People buy like watches, dinger cars for 500 quid.
And flip them for 1,500.
Exactly. Where someone could be like, well, that's unethical. That could go to, I don't know, a newly immigrated family that can only afford a cheap car.
I guess at the end of the day, we are explaining how the business works in front of people, whereas people in the car industry don't. People in the watch industry do, and again, they kind of do get hate as well.
Yeah.
Like you know, Vucom and those New York guys.
I feel like watches.
There is a lot of positive
There's a lot of
comments.
dodgy stuff about watches.
Yeah,
though.
and there is a lot of hate on their videos too. And I guess a lot of it started in lockdown. It rose so much in lockdown
jealousy.
because people were just sat there.
On their phone.
They lived online. We all did. Like, you were at home. So what are you going to do? You're going to scroll through social media. People started to feel as though their opinion was valid because
other people commented it as well.
Yeah, like, and then it just built up and up and up, and it's just growing like that.
Social media definitely shifted in lockdown.
It's horrific.
Like you say, mate.
And also, everyone's like glued to their phone now.
Yeah.
I remember like even in like the middle of lockdown, being able to just go to the park, kick about with your mates, just sit in a circle in the park and talk.
Yeah.
And that doesn't happen now.
Yeah, man. I think as I mean, listeners of this, man, like anyone who runs a business will be able to relate to that. But like, I think as a business owner, regardless if you're in sneakers or not, it's finding that healthy balance between, all right, content is needed and it works, because if you don't, you're dead in the water. But then also like finding that balance between what you do, what style of content you put out, and then how much to care about it.
And also, something that's quite funny is like whether you need to. Like, not everyone has to make content. I feel like a lot of people
I think you do.
Yeah.
I think you do.
I suppose it depends on what you do. A lot of people are successful anonymously.
Yeah.
So I know people that are doing outlets, making 10k a month, simply just selling on online marketplaces and platforms. It could definitely, I do agree with creating content, because for me personally, I've seen that with my business.
Yeah,
the thing
you would make more. It's not that it's necessary.
But that's not running a bit. That's a different business model. Do you know what I mean? What I'm talking about is like having a business in
brand.
which you need customers.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, or a brand, like social media. It's needed. You just have to do it. But anyway, enough of fucking moaning about social media. What was your favorite shoe of last year?
SB4 has to be.
Yeah,
I don't think
same for us.
I don't think it's either, for me, it's either the SB4 or there's three. There's a lot of good releases last year.
So many, especially towards the end of the year.
As much as people say, oh, reselling's dead, there were so many great releases.
It was amazing.
Nocta Glide.
Yeah, you're wearing them today.
I'm wearing them. That's a daily rotation is either my Crocs, these, if I go out, because I can wear them for like 15 hours and be calm, and my protection pack, Rain Cloud, because they're actually comfortable. Like
I wear mine like in the gym and whatnot. They're incredible. What was your favorite SB then? Jordan 4. Yeah, apart from the 4. Yeah.
Oh, Jarrito, because they made me money. Yeah. Oh my god. And do any of you remember that I posted a video saying they were going to go up?
Yeah.
And I agreed with you, and everyone's like,
nah. Oh no, but you said Seafoams were going up. I was like, I never said Seafoams were going up. I never said the crafts were going to go up. I keep quiet.
Other people did.
Every other TikToker and cook group. Oh yeah, this is the best Jordan 4 of the year. You're going to make so much money. Seafoams are literally doing less now than they were
on release.
Because I remember you offered me a pair for $240.
Yeah.
And I was going to buy them, and then Offspring just dropped them like 2 hours later, and I was like, yeah, calm.
Yeah. So how did you make money off the Jarrito?
So I literally just invested in them. I can't remember the exact number, but it was between 30 and 40 pairs off people on Instagram and eBay. I think the lowest I paid was on early access, and it was like 2 days before release. I was buying like UK 9s and 10s under 200. And then
mad. What are they at now?
Must be 700 for like a UK 10 and above.
For good sizes, yeah.
And then I was just buying off eBay because I could use Amex. I'm getting cash back. I'm getting Nectar points. There's 2 extra benefits of buying off there. And Avios as well.
Have you got, when you buy enough stuff off eBay, you get like
the loyalty program
added into like a loyalty program?
I'm not aware of it.
A loyalty program, yeah.
Do you know
I think it's only in the States.
No, it's here now as well. But
is it a recent thing?
Yeah,
you get pairs for retail. I think you got to
I
buy
don't
a lot.
buy that much off eBay anymore.
You've got to buy
I'll do it on a
amount.
release. And they were impossible to get because they only really released on Nike, and they obviously released in Skate Shop, but stock was so low on Nike, let alone the Skate Shop. They're an attractive shoe. And I said it in the video, and this is before even my pairs started arriving, and then people off that video sold me more pairs. I think I bought about 40 and then about 8 got cancelled or refunded because they realised
they
could make money. Yeah. Then by the time they arrived, they were at like 4. Then a week later, they were at 450. The week after that, they were at 500. And then I sold them. It won't come up on my eBay now, but I sold all the big sizes, 10 and above. I think I had like 8 pairs of 10, 10 and a half, and 11. One 10 and a half sold for 700 on eBay.
Wow.
Then the 10s and 11 sold at like 556. The cheapest I think I sold a pair was like a UK 5 that I paid 150 for. I think I sold it for 250. Like,
do you do that a lot then? Do you buy into shoes quite a bit?
I do it one at a time. So I'll do one investment at a time and I won't reinvest until one's finished. So should I bring out one of the shoes? Because we can do that.
Yeah, so we've asked Sam to bring 3 pairs of shoes that mean something to him, right?
Here we go. We've got the IKEA, the classic reseller IKEA bag. Yeah. The amount of IKEA bags you see at SneakerCon, mate. Right. Flipping out.
Or Sports Direct.
That's the other one.
Sports Direct is a London reseller thing, I think. Okay, this one is... And this is the first investment story. Not this one specifically.
What lot is it?
Lot 49.
I love this one.
Unreal.
The problem is with the material on the toe box, mate. If that gets dirty...
It actually cleans so easily.
Oh, I thought it was a 9.5, 8.5.
8.5. No, that's from my collection.
Have you cleaned that? I've got a pair that I wore to a festival. White lot 49. It's
all
beautiful
grey.
shoe. Beautiful shoe, mate. Anyway,
so that's one of 2 lots I have. My other one's destroyed. That was the first time I ever sort of invested, quote unquote, into shoes. And it was when the lots came out. Everyone was getting exclusive access. I clocked. The first week was all the suede. The second week was all the leather, and I clocked the suede ones had gone up £100 in a week. They were all selling at 200 to 300. And then suddenly they're going 300 to 400. So I was like, let me start buying the leather ones.
Same, yeah.
And I put, at the time, it would have been probably all the capital I had. It was about, I want to say about 15k into them.
Just quickly on that, isn't it mental how quick capital gets consumed? Yeah. When you look at £10,000 or 15 grand, you're like, all right, this is a lot of money. That's only a few shoes.
That was, I want to say around 40 pairs. Yeah. Give or take, I think I was paying average like 220-ish. Held them, they released at the end of August, and it was post a Crep City. So I had the capital from the Crep City to invest in them. Bought all of them. And at this point, I was doing a lot of like Panda Dunk reselling, when you could just wake up at 4 a.m, buy 20 GS manually, and double your money. So I invested in them, and I'm sitting on them. And I've got them listed, because I'm like, I want to make £150 a pair. So I had them listed at that price. A couple had sold. I maybe had like 25 pairs left, and this is in November. And I can't remember. Do you know about the sneaker store in Nottingham, Sneakerverse?
No.
So they got shut down for money laundering in the summer.
Shock. Another one.
And it's where off-season is now.
Right. Oh, okay.
And he messaged me, the owner. He was like, I've seen all your Off-White Dunks. Can I buy all of them in bulk?
Off-season this is?
No, this was Sneakerverse at the time. And I think it was like 30 odd pairs. Drove up to Notts. It's my best friends. They were in Notts anyway at uni. Didn't tell them I was going. I was like, I'm coming to Notts right now. I'll see you in a bit. Drove up there, drop off all the shoes, and I was getting paid out StockX buy now on these.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, godsend. And I had Crep City the next week.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Well, I didn't know this.
No, of course.
Allegedly money laundering.
No, don't worry.
Just like, this guy's stupid.
Yeah,
I love it.
Mate, that's cool though, man. So fucking hell.
So that taught me. That's the first shoes. It taught me that using your capital correctly. So I could have put that money into crypto. That was the other option I was going to do.
Yeah, thank God you didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously made a chunk off them, and I was like, oh, that's so easy. I didn't have to do anything. All I did, and they're all brand new. They just sit in the box, and so I made a chunk off them, and then the next week. This is like part of the investment lesson is that Virgil passed the next week.
Yeah.
Those stonked.
Yeah.
And then they were going, at the time, they were probably doing 400, and the 400 pairs were doing like 550 by now.
Yeah.
So I probably did lose out on like 3 grand. and I wouldn't have sold them just after Virgil passed anyway.
Yeah, you didn't.
Just because it's a bit unethical. It's the same with the Kobe thing, where all of those pairs were going for bread
straight away.
Yeah.
So that's the first shows. It taught me the lesson that learn to invest your money. Anyone that's reselling, if you have money in your bank account, learn to invest it, because there's so many different streams of income in just sneaker reselling as well.
We're obviously every time we've mentioned crypto, we're laughing, right? Of course, there is money to be made in crypto, but the percentage of people that actually profit from crypto is very, very small. Shoes and clothes, anything limited, is a lot less risk. It's a lot lower risk than
there are risks with it. You need to know what you're on about. Do you know what I mean? Like you need.
That's
to
what
know.
I've learned is to the guy Sneaker Invest.
Yeah.
He's in America, and he obviously that's his whole shtick is that he'll buy like a couple hundred pairs. So
does he still do it? By the way, I
Yeah.
swear I see him making crypto videos.
I think
no idea.
if I'm wrong on this, like let me know in the comments. But I think he's made a consignment software.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So now he has made a software for stores and then for obviously consigners. And like his thing is, I think, is that over the years and years of consigning, he's built like the perfect platform.
Or so like stores
use it to like monitor stock and stuff. And so that's what I would monitor his stuff, and I'd learn, and it's all free. It's on the internet. It doesn't cost to learn it.
Yeah.
I think you have to have the mindset of I want to learn it. And I was not studying, but I would religiously watch his stuff. I'd understand why he follows the trend, the Off-White Dunk, and I understood the trend that they had gone up in a week. So if I buy low, I can sell high. And I've applied this to so many shoes. I remember the biggest one I did, I bought 120 pairs of bone slides on the second release, all off 2 different end botters and also a Mr. Porter botter. Paid like £70 a pair.
That's low.
And then I bought a couple like Bolo pairs off eBay, like size 16s. And this is like October, it must have been October of 21.
Was this when it was Bones and Onyx, or Bones and the brown ones?
Might have been, but maybe October 2022 actually.
Because I think we've got that picture here of all the pairs. That was that release,
And I had stacks of them, and I bought them, and they weren't even like a big investment. It might have been 5, 6, but they doubled in value. In fact, they might have even tripled in value.
No, they went more. We were selling big pairs for like 160, 170 of the bones.
Yeah, and they were selling quick. I remember.
Yeah, on Alias.
Alias. That was it, because I was in Scotland and I had nothing to do, so I was just on my laptop, and I remember like they were selling so quick that it was more efficient for me to sit there with the profit sheet open than to close it, because every minute they were just like, right, new sale, put that in. So I just sat there putting the profits in. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Slides on an Alias is like
like £140 payout.
Yeah, that's
and I've sold.
Yeah,
and I think the lower end was like. I mean, they're all literally $200. I can't find any lower than 200.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. So you invest quite a bit then into like.
I do it
resale.
one at a time. So yeah, Bone Slides was a sick one. So I was tripling up. So I made probably like 8 to 9 off that.
Investment,
and it's such a low investment.
Yeah. That's why slides are so good.
Not anymore, unfortunately.
Yeah, exactly. All right, what other shoes have you got in the little IKEA bag then?
Okay.
Go on, mate, get it out.
I'll give you.
Drum roll, please.
You can have the depressing one or the exciting one. You see why the depressing one's depressing.
Give us the depressing, yeah. We started with a very,
They are retired now, just warning you.
Okay.
Here we go.
Here we go, listeners. Oh, we got an Ultra Boost, mate.
Is that cream or
That's
white?
the white 1.0.
White 1.0. Look at that. God, that's a flashback, mate.
Right, so
I remember wearing Represent jeans with the holes in them and these,
skinny
mate.
jeans.
Oh my
was it
God.
not creams?
There were creams as well.
Yeah, I feel like creams were the ones that were the most popular.
That for me.
What were those jeans as well? Where they had like
the Balmain ones, the biker jeans.
Yeah,
with the lines on
mate, the
them.
biker jeans represented.
But there was also
ripped
ripped jeans where people had like almost like cloth underneath. Do you know what I'm saying?
Oh my!
I think I've seen them with the bandanas
trends,
underneath.
Man. Yeah.
Cool shoe. Yeah, I still think this is a really, really good shoe.
They're
so that pair is retired.
What do you mean?
I wouldn't wear them anymore.
Why?
Because they're not as comfortable because they're flat now.
No.
in terms of the because this is the OG one. It doesn't have the continental sole.
Oh yeah.
So it's so thin. So it's not that you feel everything when you wear that pair.
So what year is this from?
This 2015 must be.
I love how you've done the laces so you don't have to tie them up. I remember that with the Ultra Boost. I used to tie mine up and everyone used to be like, they're
Mate,
so lame.
I have to wear... What size are you in Nike?
8.5.
These are a 10. Yeah, I have to wear a 12.5 in Ultra Boost.
Yeah, those don't have the insole because I've washed them so many times. They've shrunk a bit.
So what's depressing about these?
They just look like so sad now.
Mate, they're not depressing.
I thought you were going to have like a sad story about them, apart from the fact you didn't buy them when you went to Offspring.
No, this is what taught me. You know the saying, "Don't smoke your own supply."
Yeah.
That's
don't get
what
high on your own supply.
Yeah, don't get high on your own. That taught me that because that was a pair that I bought to resell.
Yeah.
And I paid £80 for them, and they had. Do you remember that they were like sharp on the bottom, almost?
Yeah.
That's how like fresh they were. Might have been worn once or twice, and I just destroyed them. And at the time, I probably could have sold them for like £300. So
yeah, don't buy in your size, mate. That's the rule number one.
I've got up there. I'm not going to bother getting them. I've got the custom ones. Do you remember those?
Yeah,
they're like rainbow cage.
Yeah,
you used to be able to. So
yeah, that was sort of the one that taught me.
Wow.
It was also the first one that like. I think it was the first one I wore since the first pair I had, because I would resell them on eBay. I'd buy them for like £15-20 a pair, clean them up. Do you remember the Sneakers pens that used to do the white pens?
Yeah.
Used to do that, and then
they've got an amazing store in Glasgow now.
I used to use a Sharpie and redo all of that, and then get a silver one, redo all of that, and it would take me like 20 minutes to do it all, and then I triple my money on it, and I was like 16, probably a bit younger than 16, but I was making like 30. Maybe even £40 profit on these, and like they would sell like that because they were so in demand.
Yeah, they were so in
and also
demand.
Adidas never actually restocked the original 1.0. So once they were gone until probably like 2018, 19, when they started re-releasing all the old colorways.
Yeah, like the creams, like that. They were good even that when they restocked.
Yeah, and you could get them under retail.
Yeah, long after the hype was gone. But
what's the last thing in your bag? How many pairs you bought? Three. What's the last one in your bag?
Oh, I was just about to say. So I got a bunch of the new re-release 1.0, the OGs in the outlet, at like £50 a pair, and they let me buy every pair.
Wow.
And I remember my boot was full. I took my brother with me, and it was before I was recording anything. So good days. But yeah, the last pair, can't get hold of it.
Oh!
Wow.
Flipping heck, mate. When did you get this?
Like 8 or 9 months ago.
Is this your size?
It's half a size too small for me.
I've never like really held.
I won them. Played football in them for a video. Not football, but like
kicked a ball.
Yeah, like I did it around the world or something.
All right, so the listeners, talk about the shoe and why it's like important to you.
For me,
well, what is it first?
So that is the Nike Air Yeezy 2 in the solar colorway.
Now you can understand the ooze. Ooh.
The market value on a brand new pair of them now, it's difficult to say, but I'd say between £5,000 and £10,000 for a brand new pair. These released 2012. This was Kanye's. It would have been his second Nike model. There was the Air Yeezy 1. They released 3 of, and then this is the Air Yeezy 2. I would say it's one of the most iconic silhouettes in the history of resale.
Mate,
and
for
colouring.
Sure. Well, I think this is my favourite.
This is the best one. I've now had 2 out of 3.
What about the Louis Vuittons?
The Louis Vuitton. I feel like it was one of those that because they were priced so high already, it sort of dimmed down the fact that they were reselling. Whereas this was like I think these were £165 retail, and
which is crazy, really, for the materials.
And at the time, this is over 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
Where I don't think reselling was as big. Definitely not. Isn't as big as it ever could have been even imagined. So I believe, I could be wrong, so someone do correct me. Remember, I was probably about 9 years old or 10 years old when these came out. But Nike just posted a tweet. That was for the Red Octobers. They posted a tweet available on Nike.eu right now.
I remember seeing the screenshot.
I very early on got like probably the first bot ever, which was called Better Nike Bot, BNB for short. And the key feature of that bot was that it used to monitor Nike's Twitter. There was no like, you wouldn't put a website link in. It was like you put at not whatever the Twitter handle was, and it would monitor the Twitter page for new releases. Sadly, that was after Red Octobers, but it's funny how much it's changed.
Yeah. And for me, like this shoe, I distinctly remember Kai Somar wearing a pair of Red Octobers in like a charity basketball match, and the paint got cracked. And this is when Red October market was similar to now.
Yeah.
Where like a brand new pair was 20, 30,000, and he'd worn them in a basketball match. And I remember watching it, me sitting there watching it on my like iPhone 5 or something, and I see the paint crack, and I'm like, oh my God. And he just didn't care. And I was like, how does this guy not care about cracking it? I also thought a shoe like that, for me, ever would be completely unobtainable.
Yeah.
And
so did you buy this for yourself? No.
I originally bought it to resell. Right. And then like after having it, I bought the Platts a couple months earlier. And
how much did you pay? If you don't mind me out.
3.
1.3. What did you think you could get for them?
Oh, I could get at least 1.8 for them if I wanted to.
Are they OG all?
With all the aglets and the dust bag.
Really? The dust bag? Yeah. It's
and
hard
the box.
to get.
And a lot of them don't have the box. The box is pretty
damaged.
Fucked.
But they all are now, to be fair. If they're not, it's fucking suspicious, basically.
I actually had a pair with a pretty good box.
Really?
Of the Platts. And I sold them to Darren Bent.
Really?
For a really good price. They were really icy. I think I sold them to him for about 2.5. And I paid like 1.6.
What's funny about this colorway as well is how many shoes have come out with this colorway. Like
Air
the
Forces,
Solar,
the Air Max 1s.
Yeah. Wasn't there 90s as well?
There might have been a 90. And I think the colourway is perfect. Obviously, that pair's very yellow.
Yeah.
So you can imagine when they're sort of that green glowy colour.
With the Solar.
And also, obviously, that pink's a bit discoloured now. Yeah. However, for
still
me,
the same.
It's it was so unobtainable. And, like, I don't know how to explain, but when I first got them in hand, I was like, this felt so normal.
Were you?
Yeah, I know. You do get normalised by it because it's your living.
Well, it's like you saying about 15 grand goes quickly. Like to us, it does because we buy and sell a lot of shoes all the time. To average person, still, it's like
I remember when I was like 18 years old, I had maybe like, and I had that in my bank account at 18 years old, and I remember waking up every morning and just looking at my bank account.
Mate, I've done.
And it's like, what the fuck? How is that number in my bank account?
Yeah,
it must have been post PS5 and also Fog Essentials.
Well, I remember on that topic, I remember going to see a mortgage advisor, or even like anything like getting my first accountant or changing.
That was horrible.
You know, but
I hate that time.
Going to see a mortgage advisor and they're like, so I was 22 at the time, and it's like, you sell what do you do for a living? What's your salary? I'm like, I don't really have a salary. Okay, what do you do? Like buy and sell shoes, and it's just sort of like what the fact that we're able.
That's what I had with my flat.
It is still like that.
Literally a few months ago, and I went, and they were like, "So this is the deposit," and I was like, "I'll pay it now," and they were like, "Well, you don't need to. You can pay 10% now." I was like, "I'll pay it now," and they're just like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah,
because it's the most like. It still is as much as it's normalised now reselling to sort of not necessarily like the untrained person, but I'll tell you for a fact, you do not know what resellers make. Yeah. And I'm not even talking about us. There are kids that I know that are younger than me by a couple years that made 100k profit before they were 15 years old.
Yeah,
that's not normal. It is actually not normal.
It's funny you say that, man, because I feel like last year when there was all this talks of like, reselling's dead and whatnot, and it's like, well,
I thrive off them.
Yeah. So do we. We're like, well, it's not, but also like if you're comparing that to lockdown where you could go on Nike and buy a Panda Dunk and then make £80 profit or £100 profit, then
it's not
it's
even
dead.
Panda Dunks.
It's like
the fact that you could resell Nintendo
Mids,
Switch,
everything.
trampolines,
Hot tubs.
the
list goes on.
Electric razors,
The hair clippers,
yeah,
£15.
the wall ones, £15,
Yeah.
turn it to 35, like that. Buy 10 of them.
But that's
click
what I
and
mean.
collect from Sainsbury's, Bosch.
Like those people who are like, oh, it's dead. It's like, well, you're comparing it to like an uncomparable time.
It will never happen again.
And, yeah, it will never happen again. And also, like, you're not into it like we're into it. Like, you don't maybe you're not passionate about the shoes. You don't care to learn about the shoes or do more.
Like
so,
you said, your biggest tip for resellers is to get educated. They're not educated.
Yeah.
They're just like sort of
yeah. It's amazing though. This is my favorite out of the bunch.
It's the best Nike Yeezy by far.
Definitely.
Not the best Yeezy of all time.
What's your favourite Yeezy of all time then?
350 Turtle Dove.
Mate, you know what mine is? The 750 Grey Gum. I love that shoe.
I
That
remember
was
when
one
they
of the
came
first shoes
out,
I went for.
and I couldn't
got
afford retail on it, but I still
Was it
went for it. It
280?
was 250.
250.
And
One of
I
my
couldn't afford
favourites.
retail. But at the time, I remember telling my dad, I was like, if I get these, will you pay for them?
I had to borrow money for
Yeah,
those,
and I said to him, I was like, I promise you now, you can sell them outside the shop for £300 above retail. And I was like to him, we can split the profit. I don't care. Obviously, he didn't get them. He still helped me try and get them. I'm trying to think. I think he helped me buy more blue tints. Yeah. And I'm very blessed that I was allowed to do that. But I think it was also the trust. And I remember the first time I told my dad about like how much I'd made reselling. And my dad was like, are you joking? And I was like, no. And I don't think he realised the extent I was doing it. And it's just crazy to think. My mum still thinks I make like a normal amount of money because she came to my flat yesterday, and I think she hasn't been there since like the day I got the keys. And I'm very lucky. I have 2 bedrooms, so one's a shoe room office, and I have like, I don't know, 30 pairs, and I have so many pairs of like slides and Crocs. And I just bought a pair of Dior sandal like
I know
slides.
those, they're sick. I love those.
Yeah, nice.
And I'm wearing them. She's like, oh, what are those? Are those designer? and then she's like, why do you need them when you've got all of these other sides? I've got like, I think it's actually it's a bit of an unhealthy sort of obsession, but I think it's funny.
What, with house shoes?
House shoes, I've probably spent $1,500 just on slides and Crocs.
Yeah, slides, Crocs, slippers.
I've got
Birkenstocks. Same for me,
Birks
mate.
I actually paid. I bought Birkenstock Boston before they got popular.
Yeah.
I bought them for 20 quid on the JD sale rack about 2 years ago.
That's what they all say.
Yeah.
You know, on your topic of thriving off people that say reselling's dead, the other like obviously hot topic at the moment is the HMRC and eBay and platform situation.
People don't understand it.
They don't understand it. The fact that people think it's new, it's not. Because you've always...
I saw a
TikTok comment on one of your videos, and the guy was like, wait until the tax comes in or something, you'll have to pay 30-40%, and you replied, I already pay 50, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? If I'm not paying tax, which I am too fucking much, but the point is that if I wasn't paying tax, I wouldn't post about
you wouldn't make a video
money,
about it.
number one. And number two, the videos that you see of me making money are the ones that I want to publicize. There's a lot of stuff that people don't actually comprehend, and it's the same with a lot of things. Is I post the videos I want to post. I wouldn't ever post something that could jeopardize what I do. Whether it was like I didn't post about the Uggs, fuck that. There's no point doing it. You can bleep the number, but I got pairs backdoored from Shoe with staff discount.
Really?
Yeah.
Which colourway?
Just the chestnut Tasmans, all UK
Tasman.
4 to 6.
Ooh, cheeky.
But
You still get them or no?
No. And then he texts me and he goes, I can get you mustard seed as well.
Fucking
and that's when they're going for 200.
That's a house deposit right there.
Mate, they went. They're obviously a brief period, but I've seen sales for 400.
Yeah. And I didn't post about it. I was like, not only could it jeopardize his job, which I think it might have, not even posting about it, but someone might have found out.
Yeah.
But
this is like us.
Why do I don't want to post that, because it's just going to result in people either spam reporting, commenting hate, and like realistically, it's none of like anyone's business.
No.
I like to post about the used stuff and the bricks because that's what my following follows me for. And like even the bricks, I don't post 80% of it, and because I learn. And it was the first error I ever made. The first video I made on bricks was the Prestos. I was bulk buying them from Size for £40. And I posted a video. I was like, yeah, I'm flipping like 10 of these a week, making like £20-25 a pair, getting cash back. It was like 8% cash back using my Amex. And suddenly I start seeing monitors pop up in cook groups.
Yeah.
And so that's what I've learned. I also learned, don't show everything. It's not worth 100%. It. That's what I tried to do at the start. I was like, oh, get me views and followers. So like, it's the funniest thing is when people watch my outlet videos, they're like, well, you didn't actually buy anything profitable. It's like, because the most profitable stuff I'll never show because there's no point me burn. It's like burning your own bridge, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's like we're exactly the same. We post very little of, it's like an iceberg. You see the tip of it and there's all this stuff under that we never post because there's no gain from it, right? And it's not even that entertaining either to see hundreds and hundreds of shoe boxes. It's whatever.
That's exactly it.
There's just, it's very interesting, like the thirst for people seeing that sort of content just to comment hate. 90% of the time, if we were to post like 1,000 pairs of Yeezy slides instead of the 100 we did, you don't gain anything more from it, but you'll get a lot worse comments from it. So there's
a healthy balance for sure, man. Well, mate, I think that's it. I think we've wrapped it up. We've been going for like what? An hour 12. That's way too long. Fucking attention span of.
We can do a part 2 of this.
Yeah, right. Yeah. But mate, thanks for coming down, man. We appreciate it. Should we go to the outlets or have we spent too long talking?
I'm happy to go to the outlet.
Yeah, let's go to the outlet and get some food.
Get some bricks.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. Thanks, mate.